Quick overview, RPE, lift days, and some things to think about to make the best out of your session. RPE is rate of perceived exertion, right? So it's like, how hard am I working? Now, when how hard am I working, that's not like how out of breath I am, unless that's a conditioning day, right? So when you're lifting, when you think of like something is an 8 out of 10 on an RPE scale, that means that I am like effort, 8 out of 10 effort to do this repetition. So that kind of looks like you have 1 to 2 repetitions left. A 9 out of 10 is like maybe 1, and a 10 out of 10 RP is like that. My last rep is like it. Like that's all I can do. It's like to force it out with good form, right? And that you're looking for that 9, 10 RP on build days, but on lift days, we're shooting for this 8 RPE, meaning I got like 1 to 2 in the tank. When you're looking at these suggestive rep ranges, say the 2 tracks, right? We've got this fitness muscle track and this heavy track. That heavy track is for the lines 9 through 17. And what that means is that if you've gone to the ability to do 9 through 17, there's enough movement education, competency, enough nervous system, enough safety and form to handle loads and progressions that are heavy for 1 to 7 repetitions. 1 to 7 is like true absolute strength reps. So if I'm at lines 9 through 17, then I probably have the capability to lift something heavy by 1 to 7 repetitions. So if I'm looking at something like I'm doing a heavy bench press and I get to 7, boom, I'm like, man, I might be able to do 8, and it would be a grind to do 8, right? Well, I'd want to do 7. And that's like, okay, that's an 8 out of 10 at 7 repetitions. That's not the same as doing 7 and saying I could have done 4 more to get to 11. Because now my RP is like 5 out of 6. And 5 out of 6 isn't doing us any justice. Okay? So I'm looking for that 7 to 1 rep on this lift day heavy. So if I'm picking something and I'm like, oh my gosh, I only got 6 reps in, and I couldn't really do 7. Well, then that 6 is in that 1 to 7 reps, and that's probably going to be a good weight to be at. So say that's like a 25-pound dumbbell or a 30-pound dumbbell, right? And I did 6, maybe I could do 7. If me going to the 25 puts me at this 11 rep range, that's okay, but that's not heavy, and that's muscle fitness. That's all right, but that's 2 different things. So I want to be searching for something that's that RPE, right? And I also don't want to only be doing 7 because I think it's less reps, or it's like the cooler way, or like the better way of doing the exercise. I want to get as much out of those 7 reps. So it means I should be able to do all 7 with high competency. So say something like that front squat. If I cannot do my full range of motion with control front squat, heavy by 7, like I can't do 8 reps, then I'm not doing my body any service, because I'm kind of like half-assing the whole lift. I'd rather get 11 reps out of it. So I did that the other day. I got 7. I got on the bar. I was lifting. It was my second round through. And I got to 7. I was like, oh, I could keep going. Like my body's ready to go. So instead of me stopping at 7, I just did 11 repetitions to hit my 8 RPE, right? Now, on the other side, on this muscle fitness side, if we're looking for that 11 range, we're looking for 8 to 12 in that window. So you kind of think about 1 to 7 and 8 to 12. 8 to 12. So if I'm doing something and I can get to 11, I can get to 12, I can get to 13, I can get to 14. Well, now I'm in like muscle day repetitions, and that's not the goal of the lift day. The goal of the lift day is to make it hard from 8 to 12 reps. And we picked 11 right now for this day. So I can do 11, maybe 12 happens, but my form would break down. So I'm solid with 11 repetitions. Now, that 8 to 12 is a phenomenal rep range for everybody, and especially if we're a little bit newer, or for that 1 to 7 level on the board, because my nervous system and my joint integrity and my ability to handle load is going to appreciate this higher volume and this mid-range 8 to 12 kind of number. So I'm going to get the most progress out of all my lifts, my muscle, my strength, if I own that 8 to a 12 rep range, or really owning that 11. So when I get to 11, could I do 12? Maybe. Could I do 13? I need to go heavier, or I need to increase my range of motion. So a couple of things to think about when you're looking at a lift day and the RPE and the numbers Those are things you want to be thinking about with your loads. That's why it's nice to that first round do as many as you can. You're like, oh, I did 20-pound dumbbells, I got 17 reps. I know I need to go way heavier. I'm not even in that range of 7 to 11 repetitions. So RPE, rate of perceived exertion, range of motion, ROM. So in the squat, did I go all the way down to my blocks? I'd rather have a bigger range of motion with less load because I'm going to get stronger that way than a heavier load at a shortened range of motion, right? And then last thing, strength is a practice skill. So we want to make sure that on these days I'm practicing high quality repetitions so that if it is something like a press or a deadlift or a pull-up progression, that those reps are always clean, crisp feeling weights. Sometimes that might be a little grindy, but I'm never failing out of weight. If I'm failing out of weight, I'm teaching my body to fail, and then I'm not developing the skill of strength, right? So get the most out of lift days. Think about that RPE.